Welcome, everyone, to the Hardin Local Weekly podcast. I'm Rachel Branningham. This weekend, Cecilia is the center of the universe. Cecilia Days is back Friday and Saturday. We've got fish plate dinners, the baby contest, the pageants on Friday night, and then Saturday, it's the parade at 10, barbecue chicken, tractor games, a car show, a magician, and Cecilia's Got Talent to close it all out. And that's not all happening in Cecilia. It's also the final weekend of the Sunflower Festival at Thomas Dairy Farm and Market. 150,000 sunflowers, and your admission includes a bloom to take home. It's also officially back to school week. I know my kids are so excited. Hardin County students head back Thursday, and we've got that covered too. Here's your homework while you watch. I've got an icebreaker that I want you to start thinking about. Who was one teacher you'll never forget and why? I know my kiddos already have a teacher that, regardless of grade, they run in and find her in the school and hug her every single day. So, who was that person for you? Drop your comments, your answers in the comments. We're reading the best ones at the end of the show. And we've got a company for the whole show today. We are joined by Steve Ames, the owner of the Snow Dogs food truck. So excited to have you. My kiddos absolutely love your food truck. We have to stop every time we see it. So we're going to hear all about your story. You're going to be hanging us out with us for the full hour. We're going to visit with him between every segment, the story, the menu, and the part I really want you to hear, how they help schools, churches, and ball teams raise money. If you've ever run a fundraiser, you want to keep watching. Plus, Nate's got business buzz, and he has a scoop this week. And I've got your housing market update, and the buyers are back. The experienced eaters are off this week, but they'll be back next Tuesday with fresh reviews. So let me introduce you to the team. We have Phil Tall, my co-host and producer, Scott Lucas, my co-host as well. I've got John O'Brien with all of our events and happenings. I've got Nate Bryan with business news and updates. And at the bottom of your screen, of course, this is Steve Ames. All right, if you're watching live, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Like the page, share the stream, and hit subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook, etc. And once again, don't forget everything we talk about today, the things that we can't go into depth about because we're out of time, those are all available at hardinlocal.com. All right, before we get to the fun stuff, a couple of quick things for the parents. School is back on Thursday. That's August 6th, okay? So watch for buses, watch the school zones, and give yourself extra time Thursday morning. I feel like it's always a bit of a transition back into school. And so just being really, really mindful. Also on that day, I think most of Hardin County, they get out an hour early just to ensure that the buses can actually get to everybody's homes and they don't have any issues. So here's a fun one for Thursday morning. Community leaders are lining up at Radcliff Elementary and Vine Grove Elementary at 6:45 a.m. to welcome the kids back with high fives and fist bumps. How cool is that? That's organized by Selena Hudson and the crew. If you're a community leader who wants in, let them know so they can count you for the donuts and coffee. Just like I said, if you want to be involved in that, make sure you reach out to Selena Hudson. She's the one organizing all of that. And mark your calendars. White Mills Days it's the 51st annual. I know we did a whole segment on this 2 weeks ago, I believe. And that is actually coming up. It's August 14th and 15th. So it's right around the corner. That's White Mills Days. So make sure to mark your calendars. The parade is Saturday at 10 on the new route. We've got the duck race that I am so excited about. That's on Friday evening. Fireworks on Friday, of course, at 9:30. Those are free. So you want to bring out the kiddos. We'll have a full rundown next week that we'll just go back through again for you before the weekend of the 14th and 15th. We have so this is a cool one. Actually, Phil and I talked about this yesterday. So one more piece of news from our side. Hardin Local is officially credentialed media for the Kentucky State Fair. That was approved yesterday. The fair runs August 20th through August 30th, and the whole crew will be out there bringing you coverage. So we got cool passes that we get to wear. This is my first time being a media person, so I'm very excited, and I'm excited to also see the state fair from kind of a different perspective. I've always been an attendee, and now I actually get to go kind of behind the scenes. So we're going to be bringing you some special information in regards to kind of the fair from a different angle. If there's something at the fair you want us to check out specifically, please drop that in the comments. That way we know it's huge, right? And there's so much going on. So we're going to try to divide and conquer. But if there's something specific you want additional information on, we want to go where our viewers want us to go. So make sure you drop that there. Okay. So school is starting this week. Phil, you had a couple announcements you wanted to tag on here.
Yes, I do. The first item is the flock camera article. Read it before you argue with it. First, the flock camera article. That story has traveled further than anything we have published when it comes to engagement by far. And honestly, thank you guys for that. I have to be straight with you about what I'm seeing in the comments. A whole lot of folks are reacting to the headline without ever opening the article. I get it. I do too. And, but this one deserves the click. Nobody handed us that story. We sat down in person. Thompson at EPD, Cross at Radcliff PD, written policies from all three agencies, and every single quote in there is checkable. It was written from a local perspective by local people about what is actually running here. And here's the thing. It is not a camera are great article. Cameras are great article. And it is not a cameras are bad article. It lays out what the cameras do, what the rules are, where the open questions still are. So before you make assumptions about what it says, read it first. Then come argue with me in the comments. I will absolutely be there for conversation. It is free to read at hardinlocal.com. Takes a free account, about 10 seconds to set up. That's about it. Now, before I move on to the next announcement, I'm just going to nerd out for a second. I got a new camera, so I got two. Hello.
What's up, Bill? Don't feel so personal there.
I think it's kind of cool.
It is. I like it.
The next item on my agenda is the data center series. Part 3 is live. So we have the part 3 of our Elizabethtown data center series is on the website right now. You can find it on the homepage. Monday night, last night, the city's data center zoning rules got their first reading at City Council. Mayor Gregory used the most direct language we have heard from the city yet, saying these rules are against hyperscale data centers. No vote yet. The adoption vote comes at the second reading, and that is expected at the next council meeting on Monday, August 10th. We will be covering that vote. Like everything in this series, every quote has a timestamp and a full unedited meeting video edited right into the article. You never have to take our word for it. Let's go back to the other camera. I think it sounds cool.
There you go.
My last announcement. The new Civic. We have a new Civic coverage system, and it's going to be pretty cool, I think. Last one, and this one, I really am excited about this one. For about the last month, I've been building and testing a new Civics coverage system behind the scenes. Hardin Local. Here's what it does in plain English. It takes a government body's own public videos of a meeting, the full recording, and transcribes every word of it and helps us turn that into a written report. What was discussed, every motion, who voted, and how, with a timestamp on every quote so you can check it against the video yourself. We've already used it to publish the data center series and a full meeting report on Monday's council. Roll call, every vote, public comments, all of it. That is what you are seeing on the website now. And here's the goal. We want to digest every public meeting in this county this way. Elizabethtown, Radcliff, Hardin County government. Over time, that builds a real public record of what gets decided here and how your local actually. Because let's be honest, nobody has the time to sit through every government. That is the point. We will let our AI sit through them for you, and we will always show our work. And if we ever get you something wrong, the video is right there. Tell us, and we will correct it up. And Rachel, that's what I got from the news desk. Back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Phil. Scott, would you like to lead us through our icebreaker question?
Yes, I do. So there was a difference between two different questions, but I think you picked the best question, I think. is who was one teacher you'll never forget and why? And my answer to that is Mr. Stevens. He was my political science teacher in high school, junior high. And I liked him because he was down to earth, honest. We talked about history, politics, and he didn't mince words. So he was one of the very few teachers in high school that talked to me like an adult. He kind of talked to the whole class like adults. So it was always a good thing. How about you, Rachel?
So I was homeschooled. I think I mentioned that a time or two. So obviously, my mom, right? There have been other people that I have viewed as like teachers throughout. So I actually had a volleyball coach. I played volleyball with a Christian school here in the area and had a volleyball coach there, Mrs. Howell, that was extremely impactful in my life, more so than just a athlete and a sports type setting. She actually spoke into my life and helped me walk through kind of the adolescent years, growing up as a teenager and all the emotions you experience. And I look to her and still remember those hours and hours that she dedicated to conversation with me. You know, I think about slowing down with as much as I have going on. And then suddenly I am so much more appreciative of the amount of time she just sat there and had conversation with me when I'm sure, like all of us adults, had a million other things that she could have been doing. So, you know, obviously my mother was an amazing teacher. I'm so grateful for that homeschool experience, but also to Mrs. Howell, it was wonderful having additional teachers outside of just my mom. Nate,
Yeah,
what about you? I want to know about a good teacher.
Nate, go. He'll be back. I'll go
Where-
while we're waiting.
Okay.
I was homeschooled too, obviously. My mother was a very good teacher. Also, former, I guess he was Representative Tim Moore, who was my debate teacher, which we were at for me. And then I did go to public school for the first. Allie was a pretty good teacher as well. And I also wanted, hello, Karen.
Rachel, I'm trying to figure out how your dad finished 2 out of 2 as far as teachers. If your mom was the best, which means he wasn't.
My dad was definitely my business teacher. His idea of education was to take us to the job sites. He's like, let me teach you all a hands-on education. So
There you go.
Mine would have been my senior year, James Rowe at Central Hardin. I had him for, we were the only, as teachers, Cassie probably knows this, Scott, they moved back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They moved World Civ to a freshman class, but it used to be a senior level class. And we were the last senior level class he had when he had to deal with a bunch of freshmen. So he's glad to talk to kids who are a little bit more mature, as well, teenagers are. And we had an assignment, and we had some other kids in our class, and basically it turned out to be 2 different grading policies. And some of us that were like, oh, they got graded on effort, we got graded if we got it right or not. And some of us stood up and was like, okay, what is happening here? Because that's not what we were told. Like I looked at that like, hey, that was awful. They got an A, mine, I just 2 questions, I got a B. I'm like, what the heck? And I thought it would make him mad, but he wanted to be challenged. Like he told us to challenge him on thoughts and feelings and reactions. Don't just say you're like you because that's what the book says. Mm-hmm. And he brought a lot of everyday, real world. Okay, this is going on in Bulgaria. Why you should care? This is going on, and this is before really we had a great internet. So basically, it's what the newspaper told you. But what we would talk about is that, hey, did you know that there's a war going on here? Why does it matter? What could it possibly affect? And that really stuck with me. It's like, hey, let's go beyond the book. Let's go beyond the paper. Let's make it real.
that's amazing. John, what about you?
I wasn't homeschooled, but my dad taught me as well. So I'm going with him. Best PE teacher ever. He loved doing that at Bluegrass Middle School. So that's what I'd say.
Awesome. Steve, do you have a favorite teacher that impacted you?
I'm almost more along your line. Not a teacher per se, but a coach. In Little League, I grew up and I was being so short, I had to always crowd the plate, and I got hit by the ball like every time almost. And this guy actually knew Baltimore Orioles that came out and coached me and got me to become a good player and not be afraid to get hit, or taught me how to hit. And that's pretty much the most impactful person I remember.
That's amazing. Well, we just want to, of course, say thank you. I say, you know, as a mother, teachers now take on even a more significant role to me because they I am entrusting my children to them, and my kids run into school so excited to see their teachers. And like a special shout out to Miranda Cecil, because even now, she was a first grade teacher. Both my kids got to be in her classroom. And even now, they still can't wait to get to school. We were at open house a week or so ago, and they ran straight to her. They had to find her before they saw anyone else. And so I want to say across the board to all the teachers as you all head back to school and to this next semester, we just want to say thank you from Hardin Local. We know that you all have an incredibly difficult job. You daily show up for all of our most important part and asset, which is our babies. And so there is not a thank you in the world that is large enough for the care and time that you invest and pour into their lives. You all truly help shape the next generation. So we're excited for you all. And from Hardin Local, we just want to say thank you to all the teachers, principals, staff. If you serve lunches, if you are the maintenance guy, bus drivers, the mowing crew, you all are wonderful, and we appreciate all of you guys and what you do for our students.